That's so cool. PS3 game. The boards in the back. That's fucking cool, dude.
I wonder how many other people are going to trip on it.
In the video, their banner.
In 94, 94 was right when they stopped producing those internally at Nintendo.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. 94 was the year of a lot of production stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
That's a good
meal for 9 years. After she got the role, the director, Stu Rosen, came to her and said this, and you do it.
Well, I didn't want you as April. And then played every audition of every woman who auditioned for April. And kept saying, April, that's not April. That's not April. And I said, well, I have one more, but I don't think she's April. And I played your audition, and they said, that's April! So yeah, and there must have been about 200 women that auditioned.
200 women.
Yeah, amazing.
Where is Stu now?
6 feet under.
Dead.
Have to ask Renee, coming into such a sort of like pally, boisterous cast, how did you find yourself? Did you just get straight into it with the boys?
In the arms of James Avery is how she found herself. She's the size of an Oscar when James is holding her.
It was a joy. I tell everybody that I used to leave the recording session with my face hurting from the laughter. These guys and this amazingly brilliant man would come up with lines. Pat would come up not only with lines for Frank, but he'd write them down on little notes and pass them. Say this.
I've got to tell about the Rob Paulsen story about the ad lib. We got to the point where we write each other's ad. We got real popular with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and so we couldn't. After we had an ad lib, when we wanted to ad lib, and Rob and I sat next to each other, and our object was to make the other person laugh. And after the first year of Ninja Turtles, it was union arbitration to get an ad lib through. You didn't get one. The writers knew how to write anyway. But I had a line, how would you like to be boiled in oil? Wow. Wrote down something, goes, here's your ad lib. And I looked at the page, and it actually, I saw the cartoon and it was in the show. Here was the line. How would you like to be sauteed in oil with just a touch of cilantro?
So one of the things that you need to understand, and the reason I think that Ninja Turtles has gone on and had many iterations is because we were all in the studio together, which doesn't happen much anymore. And the sparks that were created with these characters, the heart and soul of these characters were lifted off the page and off the two-dimensional drawing by these geniuses. And if you ask me, I think that's the reason that it continued and has continued, because they brought these characters to life and they will always be the gold standard.
I actually learned something today about the writers, which is interesting because I've never known it before. And one of the fans told me, of course we have to look this up, but you know, ChatGPT can get it wrong. I guess anyone can, but I kind of trust this one. One of the fans told me that one of our writers, one of the people who wrote a bunch of episodes, possibly including one called the Curly Maneuver, was, do you all know the Three Stooges? You know, Larry, Moe, and Curly? So someone told me that one of our writers was Moe's grandson.
Why not? Because Mo, they all pretty much look like her.
Yeah, and because his daughter, so Moe's great-granddaughter, his daughter has said that her father wrote for the Ninja Turtles, the 80s cartoon. So I just thought that was interesting when Pat said the quality of our writers, because we did have amazing writers.
We also had
maybe
a guy who's wanted to make a little bit of Del Rey me in this business. The original Ninja Turtle theme song was written by Chuck Lorre, who went on to produce 2.5 Men and The Big Bang Theory. So if you need money, call Chuck. For anything, like a building or the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, not only did he write it, he performed it, he sang it, and all those little turtle voices, it means, you know, Michael Butt.
Give me a break, me! Yeah, that's all Chuck Lorre. Yes. But you know,
That wasn't me? I can't remember.
the beautiful, kind remarks coming from our dear sister Renee, notwithstanding, you're able to garner that kind of accolade from someone for whom you have so much respect. It is deeply admiration to this group of folks. But as we all have told all of you today, and will continue till we can't breathe anymore, we ain't got nothing, you guys, if you don't watch. It's real simple. Many of you
Yeah, that you would know us.
who else do you love? Who else do you love?
well, don't. No, thank you. Yeah, but it's true. And all of you constantly come up to us, often through tears, and thank us. You guys, we all have worked on things that we think, okay, I'm going to buy stock of a toy company because this thing's going to explode. Crickets. And many of you have or continue to work in the entertainment business. Hollywood is full of lovely people who say, oh my God, I got funding. I got Joe Esterhaus to write the script. This is it. I'm going to plan my Oscar speech. Crickets. For no other reason than, who knows?
Guess what? When you just said that, I went, oh, I know this might be this one. Oh, we're in LA. We're home. I'm going, what city in the country are we in right now that would warrant staying? I was like, oh, we're home. Okay, never mind.
You know, 2 weeks ago we were in London. Last week we were in Des Moines, Iowa, and we get to drive to Pasadena, which is incredible. So this is a treat for us because we're always on planes.
I won't belabor it. You guys get it. This is a privilege for which all of us have worked incredibly hard, and not just a privilege. If we all threw everything against the wall that we all have things that stuck more than most actors do, and it is not. We're good at our jobs. No more theater actors we've had the privilege of working. But the odds of all of us being here, being healthy, and being able to understand what you're all telling us,
And still alive.
and still alive, is astronomical. Thank you.
We are going to, well, I'm going to jump around the audience and get some questions, but first we're going to play a game. We're gonna play. You guys have to scream and shout for existential chicken. Rob took the last year. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sure. Everyone. The budget's low, you guys. Okay, existential chicken. So please put your hand inside Gilbert. He likes it. Don't be scared. And pick out a question. One question. Just one question, yeah.
Your credit card is not in your bag.
Gilbert is the chicken bag. Just know my credit card. Yeah. No, that would be much use, Rob. Let's face it.
Thank you.
Okay, you choose one as well. And then we're gonna, okay. Some of them he likes it. He loves it. It's very deep. Okay, you got it.
Like Mary alluded, one of you alluded to, he would come in and pick Renee up every day, how you doing, man? And it really was like he's holding an Oscar. And he was a delight. And he also told me, remember that thing we did at Kevin Eastman's house?
Yeah.
He said, it was difficult for him to, he obviously had to take the gig with Fresh Prince. It's a wonderful job. But he really felt bad about leaving.
Yeah.
And then he said, however, every week that there would be a new person, they start, inevitably said, are you really the shredder? And he said, I had this wonderful kind of pre-celebrity, and everybody on the crew, everyone wanted autographed shredder stuff, so he was quite cognizant of how popular he was, and a deeply kind and super well-trained actor.
And if I'm remembering this correctly, Tony, you drove him to one of the Fresh Prince auditions, didn't you?
I drove him to the Fresh Prince audition.
Yeah.
Over in Hollywood. Yeah. No, it was at an audition house down in Hollywood. Yeah, drove him down from one of our sessions. Yeah.
Why did he need a ride?
Because he didn't have a car. His car was in the shop.
Yeah. Then he got a Fresh Prince and he bought a car dealership. I know, what a cool story.
He drove that old Mercedes. I don't know if you remember that thing.
A diesel Mercedes.
Yeah, Diesel's old beater thing.
Yeah. Big as this room. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for being the reason we didn't stay with our show. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, if I had known, I would have said my car doesn't work.
Okay, we have another question here. Blue. What's your name, my friend?
Hi, I'm Laura. Thank you so much for everything that you do, first off. My question is, would you rather all record together or separately?
Together, 100%.
Always.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. When we're all in the studio together, the energy is much different, much better, and you're bouncing off of each other. It's recording solo in a booth just by ourselves is a real drag.
Because you get great cards for ad libs from Rob and from Pat.
And Pat.
Yeah.
We actually were in the studio together recently. I don't think we can talk about it. I don't know if we can, but it was an absolute joy.
Oh.
So much fun, and when it comes out, I'll let you know what it is.
Thanks, Laura.
I'll give you a hint. It's not turtles. That's the hint.
Before the actors here in the room, well, acting is acting. We all of us have live performance backgrounds: music, theater, improv, radio, stand-up.
Street corner.
Yeah, street corner. But it is. I am a perfect example of the boat which the high tide has continued to raise for 40, how many years. And you can't help but get better. And I think that's the idea. I feel bad now for folks who end up just recording by themselves. Because when you're surrounded by this group of Frank Welker, Jim Cummings, and Maurice, and Tress, and Tara, all the rest of us, get better. Yes, ma'am.
People would ask me, what's it like? Where we were recorded, it was a secret because people would have shown up at this recording studio and it would have been bad. So people said, what's it like? I said, well, it's kind of like your parents drop you all off at the park and they say, you see that sandbox over there? There's sand in it.
Amen.
Don't throw sand. And then the parents leave and we all get in the box and the sand is flying everywhere.
Very analogy. Yeah.
Thank you for your request. We've got another one here. What's your name, my friend?
I'm Chris, right here in Pasadena. When the 1990 film came out, did you guys get to audition for those roles, or did you assume you would just be cast in them? How was the making of the film, the 1990 film, like?
We just had a lovely opportunity, and of course, like having Pat here or having Kevin, it's usually five of us. So when you get one of these folks, the dynamics changes. And we learned, because we all thought we would, why wouldn't it be us, right? So we were all like, duh. And Kevin Eastman told us that he thought it would be us also. And that was kind of sweet when he shared that with us. And the director went out and said, I want to go, let's go a different way for this incarnation.
Yeah, and yes, and so when we heard that they were coming out with this live action film, and we knew it was going to be guys in suits, that they wouldn't need the voices, so we figured it was going to be us. And when it wasn't, it was a bit of a disappointment. However, now,
I didn't get out of bed for weeks.
but now, all these years later, and all these different iterations of Turtles through our original series, the original movies, and the subsequent movies, and all the animated series afterwards, up in, what's the Rise? Was that the one you were directing? Yeah. Oh yeah, they're doing a teeny Turtles, I think now. So what we've learned, and what I've come to realize is that was actually a brilliant move in having all these different characters, different styles, different voices, because every generation now has their own version of the Ninja Turtles to attach themselves to. But what we found is that so often if they discovered, I had a gal just this morning come up to my table and we were talking about it. I said, how did you discover Turtles? And she said, with Rise of the TMNT. And I said, so have you seen our original series? And she said, yeah, well that got me interested in wanting to know how it started. And I thought, that's just brilliant. It's so fun to hear those stories.
There is a thing that I've said this often, that is a head scratcher for me about the generation and that have followed that made us what we are. When I would watch cartoons as a kid, I mean, whether it was Scooby-Doo or Casper or Roadrunner, Archie, whatever it was, I watched the cartoon and then I turned the TV off and I went out to play and nothing was said. For us to have people come to our tables, grown-up men and women, and go, we watch the family, and I wanted to make sure my kids saw you guys. And it's like, I have to accept it as so, because I can't wrap my head around. I kind of, I don't know what word that is, but that you want the people after you to continue and to start at the very beginning. So it's just humbling, and I'm shocked every time that generational conversation happens in our table.
It's amazing. Sometimes people come up and they're 3 generations, which is just unbelievable. And you know, there's a little 4-year-old, and they're getting them into the 80s cartoons.
I've been telling
I don't know how, but they're doing it.
I've been telling everybody about Turtle Tuesday. So Turtle Tuesday is where the child, or the grandchild, has to finish their chores,
Great-grandchild.
do their homework, and then they get to pick the kind of pizza they want, and the parents get to pick at least 2 episodes from our show. And it creates a tradition. It lets them pass their love and their childhood down to new generations. And then we keep signing autographs.
Pizza.
And the other thing about practical
The
standpoint,
deli?
we all know that folks in Hollywood, I can only thank myself, again, the movie, it was a little bit heartbreaking. But it made us realize that it's not about us. We're good at our jobs, but we don't draw them and we don't write them. It's a deeply, as many of you know, collaborative effort. And will always be the original, which is a big deal to all of us. But boy, it reminds you that people aren't standing in line for the next Rob Paulsen animated film. It's about the Turtles. It's about the collective. And it really...
Didn't that go straight to video anyway? Didn't do much box office to Rob Paulsen?
Yeah, it did. It sucked out loud. But you see our point. The fact is that to the extent there might have been a little ego in the game, no. But we get all of this. And frankly, so do the other folks who've been involved. But as a result of you all being the sort of cartoon version of the Beatles, if I may be so, to be able to go back and say, oh yeah, the original, that's really cool. So it all worked out great. And the only person with ego here is Barry.
And I do want to mention one person that doesn't get mentioned often enough. We just lost him a couple of years ago, and that was Peter Renaday. He's our master, our sensei, and he was also, he and James, I mean, it was so weird because James plays the supervillain and he plays the sensei, and they were probably the sweetest people at the session, because we're fun, but I don't know if we're as sweet as they were. They were just sweet people, and gentle, really gentle.
We've got time for 2 more questions. So, one more question? Okay.
Well, Rob is sweet. I shouldn't have said that. Rob.
Okay, my friend, what's your name?
Hello, I'm Ray. And so my question is in regards to the film franchise. Which would you guys say was the best live-action version and the worst live-action version of films?
Barry's our movie critic, so...
You really want to get us in trouble. I think I've seen them all now, yeah. And I know this is going to sound like an absolute cop-out, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I really mean this. Every one of those versions had something to give it credibility. So there are some in which I may not like the voices as much, but the animation's fantastic. The live action of the 90s movies were great. The scripts varied. I think the first script was probably better than the other two, but still, those action scenes were great. Even the Michael Bay, which I get a lot of flack for liking, I did like, because I thought one thing was they had a good differentiation of the 4 turtles. The one thing that I didn't love in the 90s was it sounded like they were going for all of the turtles being kind of one thing. So I can take little things out and say this works, this didn't work. But on balance, it is a great franchise. And some of the animation in, what is it, 2003 series, and it's just extraordinary. And Mutant Mayhem, extraordinary.
Animation doing another movie.
Yeah. So I think all of them have something. But they all have something in common, which is the Turtles and April and that camaraderie that they have.
They also have one other thing.
And they're more
not in them.
They have what?
What we have in common is, what they also have in common is that we're not in any of them.
Turns out Leonardo was the turd in the punch bowl.
Thank you for that bold last question. Can we have a round